Now with local news first. You're watching KLST News at Noon.
Welcome to News at Noon. I'm Kristen Strakalitis. A former San Angelo teacher is behind bars in connection to a child indecency case from earlier this year. Officers arrested 23-year-old Cole Larson in Midlands on Saturday.
You're watching KLST Local News First with Kristen Strakalitis and meteorologist Heath Bradberg. This is KLST News at Noon.
Welcome back. I am joined with Scott Fanatico with the Financial Services Center. And thank you so much for joining us, Scott. I really appreciate you being here.
Happy to be here, Kristen.
You're watching KLST News at Noon.
Welcome back. I am joined with Paulette Schell from ADAC, and thank you so much for joining us, Paulette. And I know that you're here to talk a little bit about your e-auction called Have a Heart for ADAC. And
now with local news first, you're watching KLST News at 5.
Coming up on KLST News at 5, because of coronavirus this year, San Angelo Stock Show will not be open to visitors.
Also, it was a SpaceX flight intended as an experiment, but wound up being a very expensive failure.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carolyn McEnrue.
And I'm Greg Kerr. Let's take a look outside. A beautiful day around the Concho Valley. And Jay, is this kind of setting up for another nice one as well?
Yes, it is. We're going to be seeing a few clouds as we go into the rest of tonight and seeing actually mid-70s, 74.
You're watching KLST Local News First with Carolyn McEnrue, Greg Kerr, and Chief Meteorologist Jay Martin. This is KLST News at 5.
Welcome back. Charlotte Anderson with Keep San Angelo Beautiful joins us now to let us know how we can all help keep San Angelo beautiful. How are you doing?
I'm doing good today, Carolyn. It's good to be with you.
Nice to see you. Anybody who's driven on Houston Hart the past couple of days has seen a big cleanup operation. Tell us what's going on and how Keep San Angelo Beautiful is a part of that.
You're watching KLST News at 5.
Time to bring in Justin Deloach, who's with the Children's Advocacy Center. Justin, hey, thanks so much for being with us today.
Hey, good afternoon, Greg. Thank you for having me.
So you have some good news about a new campus for the Children's Advocacy Center. Tell us about what's going on with that.
Now with local news first, you're watching KLST News at 6.
Coming up on KLST News at 6, this year's San Angelo Stock Show will not be open to visitors.
Also, tickets are now available for the United flight to Houston, but getting your boarding pass will have to wait a few months.
And along the Texas Gulf Coast today, a SpaceX rocket lands in an explosion.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Greg Kerr.
I'm Carolyn McEnrue. Today's count of coronavirus positives reached the highest number in a week. There are 64 new positives reported today, ranging in age from an 84-year-old man to a 6-year-old boy.
You're watching KLST Local News First with Carolyn McEnrue, Greg Kerr, Chief Meteorologist Jay Martin, and Matt Locke with sports. This is KLST News at 6.
President Biden is trying to gain support for his $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package. Congressional Democrats are taking steps to pass a bill on their own if the bipartisan effort falls short. Natalie Brand is at the White House.
Now with local news first, you're watching KLST News at 10.
Coming up on KLST News at 10, this year's San Angelo Stock Show officially gets underway tomorrow, but only for exhibitors and family members.
Also, tickets are now available for the United flight from Mathis Field to Houston, but getting your boarding pass will have to wait a few months.
And along the Texas Gulf Coast, a successful launch ends in an explosion for SpaceX.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Greg Kerr.
I'm Carolyn McEnrue. As many as 10,000 Texans a day could get coronavirus vaccinations at one of the country's largest sports venues this month.
It's being labeled as one of the largest vaccination sites in operation anywhere. Marky Marks has a story from Fort Worth.
Welcome to the Texas Motor Speedway.
Watching KLST Local News First with Carolyn McEnrue, Greg Kerr, Chief Meteorologist Jay Martin, and Matt Locke with sports. This is KLST News at 10.
Tonight, 2 veteran FBI agents are being remembered after they were ambushed at an apartment complex in Florida. The shooter was being investigated on child pornography charges and shot them through the front door.
Watching KLST News at 10.
On Thursday, school district employees, area corrections officers, and others will be recognized for their counseling work.
They're all receiving awards this week from the Three Rivers Counseling Association. Here's KLST's Victor Glenn.
Now with local news first, you're watching KLST Weekend News.
Coming up on KLST Weekend News at 10, we have the daily COVID testing update for the local area. Also, a look at the Angelo State chapter for the Association of Mexican American Students, and the final numbers from last night's fundraiser for reconstruction of Express Donuts and Kolaches. Good evening and thanks for joining us for your KLST Weekend News at 10. I'm Victor Glenn. To begin tonight, we have the latest COVID testing update for the Tom Green County area. There are 34 new positive cases of COVID-19 to report today, January 31st, 2021.
Watching KLST Local News First with Victor Glenn, meteorologist Chris Boone, and Ryan Reynolds with sports. This is KLST Weekend News.
In Indiana, a 17-year-old Indianapolis boy is behind bars after allegedly shooting his family, leaving only one survivor. Now, the community has come together to mourn. The full story for you now.
You're watching KLST News at 10.
Time now for This Day in History. This Day in History, January 30th, 1865. The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution is passed.